So I've put on the screen that I'd like you to download, or sorry, not download, but upload these files to your AutoCAD once you've opened it. And we're going to be going through these during the class today. These are part of your textbook. And if you recall, on the first day of class, I mentioned that there was a link to download all of these practice files. I thought it would make it easier if we use some of them. I like to leave them for you guys to use as follow-up to the class or practice prior to the class. But I thought today we would use a few of them just to give you an idea of how they can be used as well. So I see that several people are signing into the chat. Thank you. If you haven't done that, please do so, because I'm going to stop taking attendance at this point. I've said hello to some people. If I said your name already, then I got that you were here. And if I haven't said your name, I need you to sign in. Was there a question? I heard an unmute happen. Any question?
You say these come with the book. If I bought the paper book, where would I access?
Online. I showed you the link on the first day. It's also in the first week's module on how to download those. They're open to everybody, whether you bought the book or not. Okay. And I did say on the first day to download them, so we should be ready to go at this point. Any other questions? Okay. So I'll put this up again in a few minutes so that, I just wanted you to know that we're going to be using these. You should download them. It doesn't take very long. And then these are the 6 that I'd like you to open. And if you don't get to it, you can do it later as you review the video. Noting several people coming in late, don't forget to sign into the chat. I'm kind of done with attendance already. So I want to talk about the homework. It looks like folks really struggled on this homework assignment. There were only a few people that really got it all the way through. So I want to pull up the homework assignment. So let me just find it. Oops, hold on a second. I took it out of my PowerPoint. Okay. And let's see where it is. Okay. I gave a lot of comments back in your homework files, but this was the homework assignment. Try and get it on one screen. And several people did not get this right. This length right, or the angle between here right. I was asking you to report that. It says what is DE, the angle CDE, and we also talked about how to get that using the measure tool and the distance tool last time. If you didn't get this right, you can double click on it to get the length. Actually, no, I didn't keep a copy of the solution handy on my end here. But I can get that. Just give me a second. I have some wires in the line here. Sorry, just a second. I'm actually walking to record the solutions. So let me pause the recording. Problems, they look like what's being shown in the problem statement. So for this radius value here and this one here, which tool did most people wind up using that got it to work? Anyone want to offer it up? Do you remember? Okay, well then I'll ask you to go back and double check which tool you use to get the right values here. Key is that you had to use your snap of tangent on the ends on both of these. And if you didn't use the snap tangent, then you weren't going to get the right curve fitting in here. It really blends into this. And so, you know, look at where the end of this edge is on the wrench. It's below the center mark. So if you didn't have that below the center mark, if you had it ending here, then you probably were using intersection and not, or node and not tangent. It's really understanding your OSNAP commands. Beyond that, this was a fairly simple problem to circle a square that could have been done with the polygon tool or line tool or polyline tool. And then these two features, which I'll leave up to you to figure out.
I kind of had a question about that one.
Sure.
So I did an object snap to the tangents of the circles, but I was trying to create my circle. And when I was creating my circle, I only got the option to create it from the center, but I wanted to create it from like the tangents and a radius.
Right, because you have to pick that tool in AutoCAD in order to have that happen. So right here under circle, remember there are lots of different kinds of circles. And the default.
Yeah, I remember you doing that, and I saw you doing that in the video. But when I'm on Mac and I try to like do a drop down bar in my circle and I can't figure out how to do it.
Okay. Well, the drop down on the Mac is this tiny little arrow to the right of it.
I know, and I keep trying to click that tiny little arrow and it never does a drop down menu.
We'll have to take a look at yours separately. It should do it.
For the Mac, you
can also type in, sorry, go ahead.
You just have to hold it, not the arrow, hold the icon, like the whole icon.
It should work either way, but let's just say if you don't get it to work, don't forget that you have this tool, the command line, and right there, if you type it, you'll also get that option. So you have multiple ways to get to the same tool.
Okay, yeah, holding it down worked for me. Thank you, Tony.
Great.
For sure.
All right. These are great questions and things that we should try and get answered during class, but if you get stuck, you can always email me. Last problem was this one. I don't know why, but folks found this difficult. What can I say? I think the most important, the slots are created with our trim tool. Most everybody got the outside circle and inner hole. I would even say 4 holes here most folks got. And I think on the slots we got tripped up, which is just placing a circle right here, then trimming away the excess, perhaps connecting it with a line, tangent to this end and perfectly horizontal. It could have been a line that you drew through the middle and offset down, and then trimmed away. And then the other thing was the center marks. Remember when we talked about this in class last time, I said you need to put in the center marks and you need to clean them up all the way around so they show the center crosshair and the space between them. I mentioned that these 2 lines here were guidelines. You could include them if you wanted or you didn't have to. But if you did include them, it had to be cleaned up so that you see the space between the crosshair in the middle. This was really a practice and also the center marks. In this particular center mark here and the ones over here, rotating them. So also our rotate tool.
For the third one, the two of the circles, they were hidden lines, correct?
I'm sorry, these 2 right here are guidelines.
No, for the third problem, the 2 circles, some of the 2 circles, the ones that are more braided out than the other ones. Were those supposed to be hidden lines?
Sorry, I wasn't sharing my screen. These two right here are,
Yeah.
are guidelines.
Or guidelines. Oh, okay.
So they're just like indicating the placement of those other holes that are at an angle from the center, and that they are all on the same diameter away from center. So they're guidelines. And we mentioned in class that you could include them or you didn't have to.
Oh, okay, because I wasn't sure.
Yeah, if you did include them, you had to clean up around them, which involves using the trim tool or the delete tool on some of the lines that we're forming.
Yeah, I decided not to include them. But for the
Fine, you didn't have to.
okay, and the center stuff, the center marks, that's what I was also confused a bit.
Okay, well, we're gonna go over center marks again. Anyone that's confused on that for sure. Okay, center marks, just to re-emphasize, are used whenever there's a hole or a circular feature. The circular features are cylinders. What else? Arcs. Anything that has a diameter or radius value to it is a circular feature, and anything that is a hole. So we always use a center mark there. I also want to understand a little bit about what you've been working on with Joanne, because I was reflecting on class last week and I got some questions about reading dimensions, and it was my impression that you'd already done dimensioning with Joanne. Have you not done dimensioning with Joanne?
She's mentioned she did a couple of talks on dimensioning.
Okay, and you also have done all the hand drawing with her as well, which you should be familiar now enough with dimensions and reading dimensions through that and the work that you've done with her. So it's kind of like you've done all that hand drawing and now we're just putting this into the computer. And so I'm taking it as that you're very familiar with the hand drawing work that you've done and all the way through dimensioning that you've done. And that this is more of a translation of what you've done on paper into the computer. So given that, that's kind of where I've been working from. And I realize that we may not all be at the same place, but so some of your questions, I encourage you to ask them, but also keep in mind that some of the class may already be past that too. So if you can, maybe some of those in the chat, and then we can go from there. Now, I do see there's a lot of stuff in the chat, so let me just read through. I can't meet after class today, I'm sorry. I have been online since 9:30 in the morning and I have a commitment this evening. Okay, everyone has found what needs to be downloaded. Wonderful. Okay. So let us then go to something that I started with last week and didn't work. It's one of our OSNAP tools. And I just want to make sure that we understand it. So let's see here. So it was the apparent intersection tool that I couldn't get to work last time. And I said, oh, I'll come back to it. So I have two lines on the screen. They don't intersect. They're just hanging out in space. And there's this tool called apparent intersection. In OSNAP, let me just show you in OSNAPs. It's this one right here, okay? And note that it's a square with a cross through it. And I only note that to you because you'll see it on the screen in a second. So then, let's say I want to put a circle where the center of the circle at where these two lines intersect, but I don't want them to intersect. I just want to use their apparent intersection as a possibility for that. So if I go to circle, And this is where it's something you may want to write down if you ever want to use the parent intersection tool. And I've used circle center, so center point, that's what I'm looking for. At this point, you type in APPINT. That tells AutoCAD you want to find a parent intersection. And now if you look, I hover over one line and the other line, and then I hit click, okay, and it should have circle here. Let's see, there it is, there it is. Okay, so I clicked on one line, clicked on the other, and then that X came up. That is the point at which those two lines would intersect if they continued. Okay, the center of that circle went there. So you don't have to have the object snap on for it to work. But what you do have to do is type in the word APPINT for it to know that you want to use that object snap in order to find the center of the circle. So I wanted to make sure that we went back to that. Okay, so that's that one. A couple other tools that I want to show you that we haven't done yet is a spline. So under drawing types, we did line, polyline, circle. I didn't do arc, asked you to explore that on your own. We've done polygons and rectangles, ellipses. There's also, and construction lines, there's also something called a spline. And a spline is a curve that's basically created through a series of predefined points. So as an example, it's going to ask me to select some points on the screen. Let's zoom in. There we go. Okay, so I am just putting in points. You can see that a curved line is appearing that fits within the points as I'm clicking on the screen. And it's AutoCAD is generating a curve that will fit into the space defined by those points. And if at this point, again, as a reminder, I hit C, then I can close that, which takes my cursor back to my first original point. This, I created a closed spline because it's an enclosed area. However, it doesn't have to be. You can create a spline however you want. And once you're done with it, you just hit enter and you come out of it. Now, if you click on it, it's going to show you the points within which it's fit the curve. And so you can always drag those points and change the shape of your curve. Okay, so you can edit it by dragging. And to drag, I'm just literally taking my mouse over, pushing on the left mouse button, and then holding that down as I scroll to wherever I want to go next, and then letting it go and click again to let it there. So I click in the new point. So this is another tool that you can use to draw curved shape objects using your points. And next to it is the edit spline. Well, actually, where is the edit spline tool? Oh, it's over here. Sorry. This one right here. Edit spline tool. So you can also use those commands here to edit it, basically. So you can change your vertexes. You can join these splines. If you hadn't originally closed it, you can close it. So if I do that, it closes it. And now you see that this is a closed spline. I can undo that to go back to it. And you can convert it to a polyline. And remember, a polyline is is a specific type of line that allows us to do a certain edit commands to it. So if we want, we could change our spline to a polyline. So I just want to make sure you understand that there is this other tool available to you to draw curve shaped lines. That's all. Any questions on that?
Sorry, I was looking at my my own AutoCAD when you were doing that. Can you show me where the command was again
For which one?
for the squiggly line?
Spline?
Yeah.
It's right here.
Oh, okay, that's
Right here, this one, spline. And then the edit is under modify, and it's this one with the pencil. So
got
this is
it.
edit polyline, this is edit spline.
Okay, so it's two different edits for the
Two different
lines.
things until you convert that spline to a polyline, and then you can use edit polyline tools or PEDIT. We can type in the command line to invoke those tools.
Got
And
it.
when
Thank
would
you.
we use this? Like, when would this be useful?
You know, when would this be used? It's always a great question.
Homework.
No, none of the homework has a spline in it. I don't know all the possible applications that you may encounter for it. But you know, if you want to draw an odd shaped thing, basically, right? A
Oh,
curved
okay.
odd shaped thing. Like I look at what I've drawn on the screen, I'm like, oh, it kind of looks like a rock. You know, maybe I drew a rock like that. Actually, there is a homework assignment that allows you to be really creative. Not this week. This week we're again drawing things that I'm giving to you, but next week you get to draw your own thing. So if you want to
Oh, okay.
try and use a spline, then that would be great. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you also, I know you can edit it once you put it down, but while you're grabbing it, how are you able to like make it go where you want it to go? Because I tried just messing with it and it was like, before I could set it, it was like going everywhere on my.
I'm not really sure. I just go hover over the point that I want to move. Is this what you're asking me?
Oh, it's when you like you select the option. Is this called a spline line? Spline. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When you select it, I try to like select the point and then like I would move it around and it would go all over. So I was wondering.
I
how
would
could
say
do
you
it.
need to zoom in. You need to, and I also had my grid on, so I was selecting points on the grid.
They're parameterized cubic curves. A lot of it is, it looks so like the curve x cubed, y equals x cubed. It helped me to know what they are, to know how to move them.
Okay. So he's giving us, I think Steve was giving us the definition of how it's generating the curve based on a y equals x cubed format.
Yeah, you can fix.
I think,
fit
Tony, you're
points.
asking how to control what's happening on your screen. And I would say you need to zoom in. I think you may be zoomed out too far. And you want to check what your grid unit and snap unit are set to. Because I was just selecting random grid points on the screen, but I had to zoom really far in to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, since we're here, I just want to show you that you can even like remove a vertex and see how the shape changes. So it's kind of just fun. I just want to show it to you. So it's fun. It's another drawing tool that's available to you to use. All right. Lines. Okay, scale. So this is the first example. Oh, actually blend. Where's blend? Okay, this is the first example. This is from your book. It is, oh my gosh. Can't read my whole own handwriting. I think it says 5-62. It's on 5-62. So I want to show you this because in your book, I don't know how many of you have been following along with the tutorials. I have been telling you which sections we're going to go over the day of. And then I'm hoping, and then I give you post-class tutorials to work through so that you have a little bit more time to practice. And it kind of gives you an option of syncing of the material sinking in that I've introduced in class. Since last week, I've also posted some topical videos of what we'll be talking about. So for this week, I posted a video, I know, on arrays and tables, which I'm going to show you how to do in class today as well. And then to follow up on that, there are files like this one that your book provides, which gives you an opportunity to practice with some of those. So I've pulled up a few of the array files today. as well as the table file. No, I didn't pull up the table file. We'll do our own table example. And then you could pull up the table file and, you know, practice with that as well. So what I'm trying to say is that to be successful in this class, and this is just based on my take on perhaps seeing the homework and the questions I'm getting, is we come together, we meet, I go over some tools. You're going to need to work about 6 to 9 hours outside of class to really let it sink in, which means going through the tutorials that I post and then perhaps going to the homework and working on the homework. So because without the practice, it's just kind of, you know, it won't sink in as well, basically is what I'm saying. So, you know, you need to practice using all the tools. So I show it to you, I post a video so you can revisit it. I give you examples in the book to work through. And then we have some homework problems which really test whether you've mastered it. So try and use all the tools that are being provided so that you can get a good, a good experience. All right, so Blend is another tool that's available to you in the modify command. It's under Fillet and Chamfer. Fillet, remember, creates a curved corner between two lines. Chamfer creates a straight line corner edge, I should call it an edge, between two lines. So Fillet is a curved edge, Chamfer is a straight edge. Blend will put in a spline. So that's why I introduced spline first, between two lines. So what it allows you to do is select two lines and it fits between it a curved edge, whatever will fit between them. Okay. So this might be useful to you if you ever have a disjointed object and you want to blend the surface together. So you can see I just used the blend command and clicked on the edges of those two lines to create that. And this was the example from the book. Let's say I took this line and this line. Okay. You can see a completely different spline is put in because it's fitting what it can between those two edges. And if we do it again to look at a different example, let's look at this. That's how it blends that curve together. So that's just an example of another tool. It's in AutoCAD. I can't say off the top of my head what a specific application of it would be, but maybe you'll come across that later where you may need to blend two lines together. All right, so that's all I wanted to show you on Blend. I'm just going to close this and not come back to it. Next is Scale. This is also in your book. So it says to scale the images. Well, for the scaling command, for scaling, there is a modify tool that allows you to scale objects as well. Scaling means to reduce or to enlarge. So, I'm sorry, it's this one right here. If you want to make it bigger, then you have to put in something larger than the number 1. If you want to make it smaller, you have to put in something smaller than the number 1, basically. So this tells you which which scale factor to use for each of these objects here. So first thing I'm going to do is make this all 1. Does anyone remember what command will make this all 1?
Join?
Yeah. Okay. So it didn't all work because they weren't all polylines. So it somehow joins some things and not others. Again, join doesn't work unless it has the right object types. So unfortunately, I can't just select one object. I have to select all. And to select all, remember we have windows to do that. So let's first click Scale. It says Select Objects. I'm just going to put a window over top of it. And then hit Enter. Okay, it tells me it has 5 things. Now it says use somewhere near the bottom line as a base point. We talked about the concept of base point last time with rotate, copy, and move. So this is also using that base point, which is needing to select a point from which it will scale the object. So for me, I need the intersection of this. I'm going to come over here and turn that on so that I can pick the bottom corner right there. Okay. Now I can use my mouse to scale up and down, or can enter a number. So in this case, it says to make it half the size of what it was previously. So I'm going to put in that. And there it is. It's half of what it was. And the entire thing scaled together, down. Okay. For this one, you can do the same thing.
I had a quick question, Joanne.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, pretty sorry. I read the name on your.
That's okay. I didn't change it.
So in order to scale it down like all together, you had to join them all first?
I didn't have to. I tried to, just so that it would be one object. But because they didn't join, I then had to select them all. And to make sure I select them all, I created a window. Everything is inside. So I'm just giving you, I'm talking through this so that you can see different ways of selecting things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I tried to join it, but they're strange. It's got different types of objects on it, so it didn't join.
Yeah, mine didn't join either. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, it didn't join. We already, we discussed that.
Perfect.
If it's not all the joinable types, object types, then it won't join. So,
okay.
Okay, so we selected the objects, hit enter. Okay, now it wants a base point again. I'm going to pick the bottom here. Look at how tiny it becomes, or how large it can become. So I'm going to put in a factor of 2, so it's going to be double its original value, original size. Okay, so that's how we use scale. Now, why would we use scale? Well, I can give you an example. In AutoCAD, you can draw things to whatever size you want. So let's say oh wait, has Joanne introduced the last project?
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you guys
slide?
making? What?
Like at the table project?
The table project, great. So you're making a table. Let's say you want to draw in AutoCAD your table, which I believe you will have to. And you draw it to its full size, right? You're doing a scale model, but let's say you draw it to its full size. So your table is 60 inches round, okay? So 60 inches round, if you go to print it on a sheet of paper, it won't fit. But if you scaled it down, say to 1/10 its size, then it would be only 6 inches, and that would fit on a sheet of paper. So that's an example how you can draw something to true dimensions and then use the scale factor to scale it down. It's not something I actually recommend because you should just draw it to the scaled down version. But if this is how you visualize things, this is how you can use it, okay? There may be times where you download an image and it comes across as too small for your application, then you can scale it up. And the nice thing about scale is that you can try different values to see when you get it about the right size you want it. So if it's too big at the scale of 2, you could try 1.5. You can undo, do scale again, 1.5. You can keep playing with that, 1.3, 1.2, till you get it to what you really want to see. And in a few weeks, we will work with your homework assignment and scaling again so that you can see that again in an application of that. Just scale. All right, so I'm going to close this. We've done that and not saving it. So the next thing we want to talk about are arrays. And arrays are on page 515 to 526 of your book. And in that range, you'll come across a few of these examples. So first thing is, what is an array? An array creates copies of objects in a pattern. So what you see here is a pattern of squares. There's 6 of them arranged in a pattern of 2 columns and 3 rows. And we can do that for any type of object. So remember the example problems that we drew from the first day of class, like that little star, or the next day of class, the little diamond type shape. If you save those, you could pull them up and create a pattern with them, you know, or my spline. I could create a pattern with one of these 2 objects. And how that pattern is set up can be rectangular in rows and columns. It can be polar, which means in a circle, you know, using degrees, or it can be along a path, any path you choose. So those are 3 types of arrays, and we can now look at how to create an array. So to create an array, we want to go to our array menu, which is in modify. We have the 3 that I just mentioned here: rectangular, which is in rows and columns; path, which is along a defined line, curved line, straight line, jagged line, anything you want; and polar, which is a 360-degree line, essentially, right, in a circle or a partial circle. It can be part of a polar array. So for this example, it says create a rectangular array. So I selected rectangular array, and then it says which object. Well, in this example, it wants us to use this square as the object. So I select that and hit enter. A couple things happen right away when I hit enter. First, there's a default. The default is 4 columns and 3 rows, so it showed up here. Also, the menu changed across the top. You see the array menu. It tells you that you're working in a rectangular array and how many columns and rows you want to add. In this case, it wanted us to do 2 columns and 3 rows. So you just come here and you change the values. And as you do, it will update what's on the screen. The other thing it said is make sure the distance is 1.5. So the distance between the rows is 1.5. The distance, between the columns and the rows is 1.5. So I don't have to update the distance. And then if we're done, we hit enter and we've created our array, which is a pattern of our squares. Are there questions on that? Okay, so then I'm going to go to polar, and we're going to create a polar array. So again, back to modify, now down to the bottom. And the object is this hexagon. And hit enter. Now it needs a base point. So the base point is, you know, something that comes up quite frequently. So I want the center of the circle to be my base point. So as soon as I hover over the circle, it brings that up. So this is the point about which I will rotate the object, okay, the base point. So default, again, you see the menu come up across the top, and the default this time is 6 items rotated around that. Now, on the object on the left, how many do we have? 8. Okay. So if I change this to 8, then it will update and put the right number. And then the space between, it's automatically dividing 360 by 8 and putting the objects in there. One thing about rotate, okay, and you'll notice that the object is rotating with its movement around the circle. And here is that button. It says rotate items. If I unclick that, note the hexagon is staying in the same orientation as the original as it moves around the circle. Okay, so that's, you can either have it rotate with its rotation in that circle, or you can keep it in its original orientation. The other thing I want to point out here is that it's using the entire circle. This is what the example tells us to do. But let's say we only want to use half of the circle. We only want to fill half of the circle. Now, I'm not hitting return. I'm just kind of clicking between, okay, these menu items. So as soon as I do, it updates. So here, it's using just the left half of the circle, filling in only 180 degrees with 8 items. It's updated the angle between them, and it didn't rotate them. And again, if I want to rotate them, I just click that. Now they're rotating ever so slightly as you move through 180 degrees. So on the polar option, you have a few different options of how you can arrange them within a circle, basically. A partial circle or a full circle. And if you don't want them equally spaced, you can modify that spacing between them as well. And there's a lot more things you can do. Like, let's say we change this to 2 rows. Let's see what happens. Yeah, pops it out. It creates a space between them. And now you've got another array, a same array actually, but another row in that array. I'm going to leave it like that and hit enter. What I want to show you is that this is all one object. Same with our rectangular array. The array, when it's created, it's saved as one object. Our explode command can be used to create what this was 16. If we use explode on this, it would then leave behind 16 hexagons. But the array is considered one object. Now, say that I finish with this, and then I say, oh, I don't like what I've done. We'll click on it, go right back to the menu at the top, edit it, change it to 360, rotate the items. So you can always double click on it and get your array menu at the top to modify that.
For the Mac, it doesn't show the distance to like be able to edit the distance. Would that be on the settings for the rest of like everything?
Let me open up AutoCAD on the Mac, and that way I can best answer your question. Let me see. Okay, and sometimes I make a note, so let me just double check my notes as well. Should be there. You didn't get an array menu when you put in the array?
I did get the menu. It just gives me the rows and the
Columns. That's
the base point and the columns. Yeah.
And so you were looking to put in the degrees, say, on a polar array.
I was trying the first example you showed us of the squares.
Oh, okay.
I would like try because when I put it and then I didn't see the distance, and then I was just going back to it to see if I could see it again, but it doesn't pop up.
Okay, so I'm gonna create an array. You're doing rectangular array. I'm gonna create an object. Sorry, I'm not showing this on my screen. Okay, so right, it shows you the base point, it shows you columns and rows. And then if you look at the command line, you have other options, the other options. So for example, spacing. You should click on spacing or type S, and that will bring it up.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so again, I think we started with this at the beginning of class. That command line is really useful. So if you're not seeing something on the screen, look there first and see if it's there. Okay, because the Mac is actually, so AutoCAD, let's just be honest, they focus on the PC, not the Mac. The Mac was developed after a lot of protest from users, but they also don't include all the same sort of menus on the Mac. But it's not that it's not there. We just sometimes have to look for it a little bit harder. Okay, any other questions on this polar array before I close it?
I do have a question. So you were able to make extra rows that go outward from the original row. Is there a way to add a row that goes inward?
Let me bring it up. Rows. Total. I don't know actually if we can do that. I'm sure there's a way to do it.
I had tried adjusting the spacing between the first and second row to make it negative, so it would go inward,
Yeah,
but it
and
doesn't
it
allow for
doesn't do that.
non-zero.
So what if we did an offset on that and made it go inward? Just as an option. Did you try offsetting it inside? I wouldn't do it now because it'll also bring my outer one in.
I haven't tried that yet, but I can try it later.
Yeah, maybe that's something to look into. Don't really see a way to go inside. Let's see, rows. What is levels? Spacing. I'm not sure what levels is. Let's do 4. See what happens. Yeah, they keep going outward. But maybe the nature that they just go out and not in. We'll have to look that up. I'll write that down as a question. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a way, like when you're doing the rows out, I see they perfectly align with the row on the inside. Is there a way to stagger, like change the spacing of one row without changing the spacing of another?
Again, maybe I'm not. I haven't done that before. You know,
Like,
with the,
yeah, like to make the second row of hexagons like in
I
between.
understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
in between. Yeah. I'm not sure that the array function allows us to do that right away. However, remember, you can always explode your array and then take your objects and rotate them by 30 degrees so that they're inside as well,
Okay.
right? So it's not that we can't do these things, but they may not be built in functionally to do that. Now, in your book, to do a rectangular array, there is an angled function on that so that it's you can create a staggered look on your rectangular array. If you want to look into that, there's a example problem devoted to that. So you can go to and look at that one. And you can download the example file and use it. Okay, array path. Any other questions on polar? I was going to close it. Okay, path array. So for the path array, what it does is it distributes this arrangement of objects along a line. It can be any line that you choose, like I mentioned. We've given you this line here. It's a polyline. I just double clicked on it to double check that. Maybe it's a spline. Let's double check it. No, that's a polyline. Okay. It could be a straight line, it could be a jagged line, it could be any type of line you want. It can be a circle. So it just needs a path to follow is all that it needs. And so what you do is you click path array, you select the object you want to array, and you select the path. And again, the default here tends to be 4. You could put more than that. You can also rotate items. Oops, it's not letting me. Why am I not able to click there? Maybe my Zoom window's in the way. Not letting me click there. Items, array path, display the levels. I don't know why I suddenly can't click there. That's really strange. Okay, let's do a line on a line. You can't tell with the circle. If we had done it with the hexagon, you would have seen that change. Oh, maybe it won't let me because that's all it can fit. Let's change the space between them. And there we go. So it was constraining the number of items because of the space that had been given. And I changed that to 1 inch. And then it allowed me, automatically updated it to 6 items. So it's defining how much space are between the items to determine how many items it can fit. We've also got the rows here. Let's see where it puts the row if we increase it. Puts it on the outside. And you can see it kind of scrunches it up. It's like it's offset it by a certain distance. And then all get offsetted along that line and what happens there. Okay, so that's ugly. Let's go back. So that's the path array, basically. Any other question? Any questions on the path array?
What was the last thing you did where they all scrunched up and then started getting farther away from each other?
I did another row.
Oh,
Just added a row, and then it went it outside or above it, not below it.
okay.
Yeah.
Is there any way to individually change the distance between like two of the, say like we're doing the circles along the line? Like
We
say
are
you want
doing the
some,
circles, and then
say you wanted to change like, say you wanted like the last three to be further apart than the first three. Would you just redraw another circle and then make another array?
yeah.
Or?
So an array, this is going to give you an equally equal set basically of objects. The whole thing is a pattern. So now if you want to change your pattern to be something different, you need to start with a different pattern. So if you want 3 circles together and then to array that along a path, 3 close together, leave some space, 3 close together, leave some space. The pattern you actually wanted to array was creating the 3 circles that are closer together and then array that along the path.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So that's our array path. Close that. No. This was our rectangle. Close that. All right. So the last new thing I want to cover today, I believe, oh no, few more new things. Hatching. This is the hatch file. And hatching is, what do I want to say about hatching? It allows you to, it's usually used to specify material type. So actually in the module, I should have posted a list of material types by hatching. So if you click on the hatch menu under draw, you come up with all of these different things across the top. And what I want to show you is these patterns. They are also a pattern. Sometimes they mean something. So for example, this is a pattern for concrete. There's different kinds of brick. There's parquet, a shaker roof. Here's brick, here's brass, there's sand. And some of these are labeled and some aren't, but the point is that you can specify material in your drawing using hatching pattern. And the way hatching works is you click on the pattern you want to add, and then you have to put it inside of an enclosed space. That one's not. Let's put brick there actually, since that's a chimney. Okay, so I'm going to click internal point, and it's going to create a pattern. Now it's very hard to see the pattern, so I want to edit it. I'm going to double click it. I'm going to change the scale. If I enlarge the scale, the pattern gets more here. So there we go. Keep enlarging the scale till I can really see that brick pattern. Okay. And then the color was really ugly, so I'm going to change that to, there we go, red. Okay. So there's my brick chimney. And you can see how we can use hatching to denote material type. Key with it is that you have to have an enclosed space to click inside of. So it doesn't have to be closed, it just has to have some defined space. So for example, this right here, okay? This is a space. And if I go over and hatch it, and I pick a point inside of it, well, this one it doesn't like, okay. So it can work without it being closed all the time, but it has to have a space that it can define. This one it doesn't seem to like, so oh well. So much for that example. Let's see. Let's do another one. Where was that shaker roof? There we go. Okay, let's click here. Shed the roof. So we can create a roof pattern. Now, thing about the hatching is that it's its own object. You can move it out of the space. Once you move it out of the space, it's no longer associated with space. Before I move it out of the space, let's see what happens if I do this. Yeah, I need a closed space. I need a joined space. Let's see. This one's joined. No. Okay, I'll show you. Take this, this. No, I didn't like those objects. Okay, let's see if we can, we'll do this, create this. Okay, we'll hatch it. Okay, great. Now let's change the shape of this object. Take this. Oh, it's not working today. Lovely, but it might be because I didn't do it with the polyline. So I want to, I'm going to join these, which I know I can do. It's a polyline, great. Now I'm going to grab this. Ah. Let's do this again. Hatch. So I have a polyline, it's a closed space, okay? Hatch it, hit enter. Now, if I take my polyline and change the shape, it should modify the hatching with it. There it goes, okay? So it's associative inside of a closed space. However, it's also its own thing. So when you pull it out, then you go back and change the shape of the object, nothing will happen to the hatching. It only remains associated while it's inside that space. Once you pull it out, it doesn't matter. Once you pull it out, you can do all sorts of things to it anyways, too. You can change it. It's its own object at that point. So in your module, there should be a list of all the different hatching styles. Let me see, double check on that. So that you have a reference for that. If it's not there, I will add it. Also know that that's something you can also search on the web. You can just do AutoCAD hatching styles, material types, something like that. And it will give you the list of all of those. Let me double check. Oh, I didn't post it. I will post that. Okay. Oh, it might have been in last week's. No, it's supposed to be here, I think. Hatching. Yeah. Okay, I'll post it. I'll add it on there. Okay, so that's hatching. Could go through the book. It has you do different styles of hatching in all of these spaces, so you could keep going on that and do that if you wanted. The last thing I wanted to talk about today was tables and how to add them. So adding a table, it's actually right here under Annotate to create a table. And this is a menu that looks very similar to something you might have seen in Word or PowerPoint. But basically, it is how many columns do you want? How many rows do you want in your table? So generally, we want more than one row in our table, maybe like, I don't know, 7. You want style would you like? So it's showing you the first, if you change this to data, it's just all data then. There's no header row, right? Or you can have a title to your table first, then you can have a header row in your table, and then you can have data in your table. You can insert it at the base point, or you can specify a window to put it inside of. You can start from an empty table, or you can import data from an Excel spreadsheet. I am only going to have you do empty table in this class. So you hit OK, and then you can put your table in anywhere. And there it is. So the first thing it automatically goes into is the title row. When it did that, again, table menu came up at the top. So you have your text style, you have your justification, where you want your text to be, you have bold, italic, all of those things you can select for this. So this is our practice table, that's our title. And then the second row, remember, was headers. It's going to be a little bit larger font than data probably. So I don't know. Let's just put the word material. Or, I don't know. Just making stuff up. Okay. Now, when you get to your data tables, data rows, one thing you'll note is that you're going to, whoops, I didn't want to do that. Control Escape. Okay, you're going to want to make sure that they are formatted correctly. There we go. And so I selected all of the rows and columns. And then I can go to data format and double check, what precision is on it. So right now, you can see it was like all of these decimal points. So you can change that to match whatever the units are of the entire file, or you can, change anything here that you want. So you can change it to certain decimal points, say 2 decimal points, and hit OK. So now every number I type into here will be of that precision. The other thing about tables is they usually are used in engineering graphics to specify whole locations. They're often used, let's say, to do that. So a whole location could be X dimension, Y dimension, and I want to give you a little shortcut here, diameter. So AutoCAD has, you could insert a symbol into here, or to insert the diameter symbol, we can type 3 keys and it creates that symbol, and that is %% You want to write that down. %% will create the diameter symbol for you inside of a text box. And this is true for any text that you add to any document. So just to show you, I'm going to escape out of my table, go home, and add text. Okay. And if I type %% change to diameter symbol. And if you type those 3 things together, there's no way to not have a diameter symbol. It's a diameter symbol. Likewise, there's a couple others that might be useful to you. %P gives you a plus or minus sign. Okay. And then %D gives you the degree symbol. Those are the 3 that I found to be most used, and so it might be worthwhile to write down. %D gives you a degree symbol. %P gives you the plus or minus, and %C gives you the diameter. If you don't want to memorize them, they're here under symbols as well. But sometimes we're just typing, and it's really easy to just keep typing rather than try to navigate to the symbol menu. I believe that's all I wanted to show that's new material today. Any questions on tables?
Are tables used to like create objects, or are they just used within themselves? Like, because you were talking about the X diameter and the Y diameter and the radius. Can you actually like type in data and then do a function to create something based off that data, or no?
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, this is an Excel where we would create a graph off of a table.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're using this for like for drawings that we make to specify information about a drawing.
Okay.
So like go ahead.
Like included like on the bill of materials?
Yes, like a bill. I was just about to say like a parts list or bill of materials in terms of engineering. Yes. And also, let me show you the practice example. where you can see also being used. So something like this, where you have a whole plate, a plate of a whole bunch of different holes. You can specify the location in the X and the Y and the diameter in a table next to this and eliminate a lot of the dimensions that you need to place along the object. So this is another use of a table. Bill of materials, and a lot of times when we want to represent locations of holes, when we have a lot of holes and we don't want to clutter up the drawing. So at this point, here's a practice problem that you can work on. This is in the module. This is creating this chessboard using an array. Well, using an array is sort of giving it away. Use an array to create this. It's a little bit more involved than it looks. So definitely encourage you to give it a try. This is another practice problem to create this whole table for the positions of each of these holes in this object. Okay. Or if you've already done those practice problems, then you can work on the homework. And the homework consists of drawing 6 objects this week. So you're going to be drawing this, 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 and this hex plate. And this is again review of all of the tools that we've learned to date. So this week as well as last week. So to give you an example, what's inside here?
Hatch.
Yeah, right, hatch pattern. Good. How could we create these circles right here so symmetrically, these ball bearings essentially?
Array.
Yeah, what kind of array?
Polar.
Yep. How could we create this tripath?
Would that be the offset? We can
Yeah.
just stack a bunch of them in.
Yep. And you're
How do
gonna need
we-
to, yeah, you're gonna count them and you're gonna figure it out.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. And so again, this is practice, you know, of like knowing which tools to use and knowing how to use them. So the hardest problem here is going to be our hex plate. I'll be honest with you. But it can be drawn and sufficient information is given to create this object. I've done it many times as a demonstration. So that's what the next essentially 2 hours are for, working on your homework or working on the practice problems, asking questions so that we can make sure that everybody understands how to use the tools we've talked about. I think I talked about trim and extend last time. I just want to make sure that I went over trim and extend. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, because those will be useful in the homework as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop recording. And then if a question comes up, then I'll hit the record button. And if I forget, please remind me to hit the record button. All right. Start again.
So for the first practice problem, I believe we're going to use an array, but we have alternating shapes. So yeah, I think, well, I'm sure there's a way to do that, or if we have to make 2 separate arrays and change the spacing, but.
Okay, both options work.
How would you, if I was going to make 2 separate arrays using 2 separate shapes, I don't know if I'm given the dimensions.
You are. All information is there.
But could I make like say an array with just the empty squares?
Of course, you can make an array with just the empty squares. So that would be like that angle that I talked about. It's the demonstration problem in arrays where you're working with an angle. But so if we can do things with one step instead of two, it's to our advantage. So rather than do a two-step array, two arrays, basically 2 steps, let's look at this from the point of view of how could we make this with
one
array.
So
Does
then
anyone want to suggest what they're thinking?
I would draw both squares first and select.
Which squares?
I would draw the empty square and then I would make the hatched square, or not really hatched, but the square with lines in it.
Okay, so if you arrayed that, actually you should do that. You should array it and see what happens.
Okay, array both squares and see what happens.
Draw both squares like you said. Make your array and see if that's the result you want. And if not, it may indicate to you what is not quite right. So start with that. Okay.
Okay, I'm jumping ahead. I also didn't catch when we made arrays how to specify a space. Like, because
it's in the menu, it comes up. The space between rows and space between columns is in the array menu that comes up when you do an array.
Right, but is there a way to define, and I believe there is, define a space that you want your array in, like within the grounds of this square?
Well, if you distribute the objects given to the given dimensions, it will be within there.
Okay.
So you don't need to do that. You just need to work with, the space between these is 0.2 all the way around. And this is in inches. So there's 0.2 here, 0.2 here, 0.2 here, 0.2 here.
And
then if you make them 0.4 in width and height and leave a space of 0.2 between and you put as many objects in, it will be inside the 7 inches.
Okay, can I draw my first squares anywhere?
Yeah.
And then, okay.
Of course. Okay. The page with all the shapes are millimeters, right? Is the question. And the answer is yes. No, it's specified. Let's double check here. Sure. Just know the tri-path and the knot are going to be tiny, tiny, tiny. But yeah, let's do it all in millimeters.
I have a question. Did you call my name? Or I don't think I heard it.
I didn't call it because I saw you were there and I heard you speak, so I got you. Okay, so basically, hold on a second. If I am wrong, correct me.
So that's millimeters, right?
So the question was, which template is millimeters? It's AutoCAD ISO. Yes.
AutoCAD ISO. All right, thank you.
Yep. So the text plate says metric, it's in millimeters.
Okay.
Arrow says metric, it's in millimeters. If you look at the relative size of 100 millimeters tall for this, you can assume this is in millimeters. Our issue becomes our tri-path and our knot, which are not in millimeters. Those are actually in inches. Otherwise, they're going to be super small. But what can we do? We can multiply it by 10. We want to do that?
Yeah,
Multiply everything in the tri-path and the knot by 10.
okay.
So that they are somewhat larger than tiny, right?
Mhm.
Rather than submit 2 files, let's do that. I'll update the homework to say that.
Okay.
Actually, I did say submitted as 2 files. Huh. Let me see. I said submitted as 2 files. Draw the 6 objects. No, I didn't. I just draw the 6 objects in the 2 files. Okay. So I'm going to update the homework assignment to say multiply the dimensions of the tri-path by dimensions of the tri-path and knot by 10 millimeters. Then everything is in metric.
I'd like to ask a question about the first practice problem.
Sure.
Just drawing the first rectangle, I have very weird options where I don't even know what they're asking. I just want to draw a 7 by 7 rectangle, and it says specify the width, the thickness of the rectangle. I guess they mean line width, and then they want rotation. I don't even know how to draw a rectangle, but with this user interface, do I have to get to some other OSNAP setting so I don't see these weird options?
Let's start at the beginning. Are you in a Mac or a PC?
Right now I'm working on a PC, but I'm communicating with you through a Mac because that wouldn't install on the Mac. So if I share screen, would have to go to Zoom on the PC.
It's okay. You don't need to share screen. So you went to this tool right here, rectangle.
Well, we have a different user interface on the ThinkPad. I got a PC, so I would be on the same page, but it just doesn't seem possible. I'm on the rectangle tool. It's on a vertical menu. Sure.
Okay. And then it says specify first corner. Do you have that?
Well, yeah. Okay. I thought I would just give the dimensions, but sure. Okay.
Well, let's give the dimensions. So let's put 0, 0 as the first corner.
So, okay. Well, that's okay. You select that before the width. Okay. Sure.
And then let's do 7, 7 for the second one. It's a 7-inch square, right?
Yeah, and now it's rotated 45 degrees or so. And it's not a square, it's a rectangle. And it's also white.
If you do 7, 7, 0, 0, it's only going to produce a square.
Well, okay, I don't. Maybe I'll just erase this and start over then, because it drew something completely. It just whited out.
So fact, I'll be honest with you. Not really sure how the ThinkPad. Is it like one where you use you can write on the screen with a pen?
I thought it was just a piece, a Windows machine. It's.
I guess you would have to share your screen, because I'm not following along why the commands aren't working the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, I'll try to get on Zoom on the ThinkPad.
Okay.
Follow up later. Thanks.
The only other thing I can think of is your cursor rotated?
I don't. Let's see, the cursor itself.
Yeah.
No, it's I got vertical.
Okay, could you just draw a rectangle with 4 lines? Sorry, a square with 4 lines.
Let's see. Yeah, that works pretty well.
So something is misaligned in your rectangle tool then?
It must be. I think I'll try to hit snap to grid for that too.
It shouldn't matter, just so we're clear.
Yeah.
If you do rectangle, maybe go to your command line and let's just try typing this in. So in your command line, type RECT and hit enter. And you don't want to hit width or thickness. It's talking about the line thickness.
Okay, sure, yeah.
It's not talking about the length of the line.
Yeah, I wanted to sidestep the line width. I know what they mean. I want to take the default.
Well, the default is 0. And so we're not going to, when you put rectangle on your command line, you're going to see chamfer, elevation, fillet, thickness, width. You're not going to select any of those. You're just going to type 0, 0 there.
Okay.
Command line. And then you're going to hit return.
Uh-huh.
And then you're going to type 7, 7. Hit return.
Okay, now I see a rotated rectangle that isn't even a square that's whited out. So maybe I should get on Zoom on this machine so I can share screen or something.
Sure. It shouldn't be rotating.
Yeah, and it's also just whited out, and it's not a square. It's roughly a 3x1 rectangle that fills most of the screen. So
I just wonder if you might be hitting return, or it might be sensitive. The touchpad might be catching a return when it shouldn't.
maybe
Like
it should be tab instead of return.
no, tab is instead of comma. So you can
Okay.
do tab instead of comma, but return is to end the command.
No, I've gotten the same results twice by typing exactly what you said.
Okay, and the other option is, before you go through the effort of logging in on Zoom, there is to just shut down your screen and start again.
Oh, to close
the drawing and start again.
Okay.
If you have nothing saved there anyways.
Nothing but exercises that are already saved, thanks.
Yeah, and that's what I would recommend, just trying to restart AutoCAD. Maybe there's just some glitch there.
Or do you think that I have some weird setting that I don't know about that I well, yeah, I'll just do that.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, thank you.
I wouldn't know based on what we've said. You have to share your screen so we could look
I
at
figured,
it.
yeah, I wouldn't finish the exercise if I can't even draw the board before right? Thank you.
I'd recommend just maybe closing that file and starting a brand new file, acad.dwt, and seeing if you can draw a rectangle.
Yeah, thanks.
I have a question that will hopefully be quick. I'm drawing the first. I'm still trying to draw this 0.6 by 0.6 squares. And
okay, so first of all, the squares are 0.4 by 0.4.
Oh, wait. Really?
Yeah.
For practice problem 1, I also read the dimensioning as 0.6.
Yeah, it says point.
The 0.6 is space. Oh, sorry, I'm reading it wrong. Right, 0.6 by 0.6. Sorry, I was reading something else. I was looking at the wrong thing.
Okay. All right, so the 0.6 by 0.6 squares, and then I used individual lines to make the cross.
The crosses, sure. Yeah. You just connected midpoints using OSNAP or the corners. Yeah.
Yeah, and then now I'm trying to join them all together.
You should be able to join them all.
Yeah, so
I don't have to, but you should be able to.
Okay. Well, I type in join, and then it says select objects you want to join. So I select all of the separate lines and then hit enter, and it just says 0 objects joined, 4 objects thrown away or discarded from.
Okay, so how many objects did you can't join just the crosses. I think you have to join the outline too. There should be 8 objects selected.
Okay. Well, yeah, I type in join, and then I'll select the outline first.
So the 4 lines on the outside and the 2 crosses should join no issue.
Yeah, I select the 2 crosses and the 4 lines on the outside. So now I have 4 things selected because I drew my original outline as a rectangle already.
Okay.
And so now I have 4 things selected and I hit enter, right?
No, you hit join. That doesn't like them. Okay. Again, you don't need to join them. Not the same object type, so it doesn't like it.
Okay. Oh, okay, I get it because I used a rectangle and then a line to draw.
So you would have to turn it into a polyline in order for it to join. You have to turn all your lines into a polyline to join.
But you're saying I don't need to join them.
You don't need to join.
Oh,
In fact, let me just say right now, do not join any lines on your homework at all. I keep getting homework assignments with join lines. Don't join your lines.
All right, so I'm just gonna wait, escape. Now I'm gonna try to make an array by drawing a window that highlights all my objects. Okay, wait. Now I need. So the first step to making an array is you select the array type that you want, and then you choose the objects. And from there, you just hit enter to get to the array menu.
So the first thing you do is you select your array. It's in the modify menu.
Yes.
And then you select all your objects and hit enter.
Okay.
And then, yes, it should pop up the array menu.
Okay.
Did it pop up?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So how are we doing then?
Now I'm trying to get it so that the boxes will be inside my larger box. And I don't know how to do that. How do you specify? Is it total? Is that no, like total width and total height?
So first of all, remember I said don't worry about the larger box. So you're just going to array your pattern and you can put a large box around it wherever it pops up on the screen. Okay. So you picked your box. You picked 2 boxes, right? One with pattern, one without?
Yes.
Okay. And then you hit array and then it came up with a 4x3, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay. So how many columns do you want? Did you make sure that those 2 boxes are only 0.2 apart?
No, I was trying to figure out how to do that.
Oh, that has to be done first.
Okay, I'll just escape my array.
Yeah.
How do you undo? Is there a way to undo an array, or do I have to actually delete everything and draw the boxes again?
Control Z is undo.
Okay, let's go backwards. Perfect. Okay. Now I'm gonna move. Can you measure a space?
Yeah, measure. We talked about that last time.
I was just wondering if you could measure a space, because I know we measured angle and a line.
So a space is this area between 2 lines. You can measure that from one corner to another.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still not 0.2 away.
So what I would do is, am I sharing my screen still? Let's see here. Sure, I am. Share screen. Sure. I just drew this, okay? And then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this box from this corner to this corner. And then I'm going to offset that box by 0.2.
Okay.
Right? So again, using the tools that we've talked about to achieve what we want to achieve. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about the top box? Did you use lines for the diagonals or a hatch pattern?
Oh, lines. Yes, not a
Yeah.
hatch pattern. No. And not a point. Point
No, I'm
also
glad.
does
I'm
something
glad.
similar like that. Yeah. No, lines.
It would be hard to, thanks.
Yeah.
My squares are not lining up perfectly.
Well, take it off grid
Okay.
and put on ortho mode.
I had a couple questions. What was the file type or what was the template type to make sure it was in metric?
ACAD.iso.dwt.
Okay. And also I'm having some trouble with a fillet issue and I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong.
Okay, go ahead and tell us what's happening.
Well, I click on the fillet and I click on one of the lines and then I try to select the other line where the corner is and it just deselects.
Okay, but did you enter a dimension for the fillet like we talked about?
Like a radius?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll enter the like a radius and then it'll still same issue.
Do you want to share your screen?
Sure, let me do that. Yeah. I'll enter
Fillet.
radius.
You type in R.
The
And
radius,
hit
I don't know,
enter.
5.
No. Just hit R and enter. See, it's 0. You haven't entered a radius.
Ah, I see. All right, that was my mistake.
Okay.
How do you, because when we've done offset before, it's been repeating the same image. And it's offset it.
Or it's repeating the same image.
Yes, when we've done offset before, we will take one image and we will select that image to offset, and we'll select offset, and it'll make a copy of the image offset from itself.
Okay.
If we're trying to offset separate objects,
I'm listening.
what do I do? Like, which object? Because when it asks me, I specify my offset distance, and then it asks me to select objects to offset.
Well, are you just trying to move it 0.2?
Yeah.
Okay, what about if we just use the move command? How about that?
That's what I was trying to do, and then you said
Well, I'm just giving you another option if offset isn't working. Yeah, because you're right. It's offset might not work unless you, because it might create a duplicate of it that's smaller or larger, depending on where you click. So what if we do move?
Okay, select objects. I've got move. I selected my object.
Now, I don't know which direction you're trying to put it. Are you trying to put it up and down or
to the right?
Left to right?
To the right.
To the right. So then it would be 0.2, 0.
Okay. But and then I select a base point first.
Right.
And then it would be
So it would be the bottom right corner from which you want to space it apart.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Magical. All right, now I'm ready to try my array again.
that work? Lynn, does that work?
Yeah, I now did that I have 3 columns and 7 rows. But then I tried to change the space between to 0.2
Mm-hmm.
and it overlapped all of them.
Yeah, so this is why I wanted you to do that and not tell you.
Right, okay.
So now you understand that it's measuring the spacing from a certain point.
Okay.
So you need to determine what number you need to enter for the spacing so that it doesn't overlap.
Okay, how am I, it's determining, it looks like from my far left-hand edge of the 2 squares.
Right.
So then I should do some math and add up what the total, okay.
Exactly, very good. Good. Okay, any other questions before I pause the recording? Okay. Go ahead.
For the array of squares there, did you calculate the center of the first square and then decide on an array? Or did you just draw a 0.4 square and declare an array and then move it to the center of the chessboard?
Okay, so I'm not following the question exactly, but you need to array the pattern, and then you can draw the square around the chessboard. The outer limits of the chessboard are the last thing to add. The first thing to do is do the array.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of building a physical chessboard, so I thought, well, first you get the board.
So you could build your physical chessboard and then start with one of the patterns, one of the squares in one of the corners, and then do the array from there.
Yeah, well,
but it's not that important.
Yeah.
What's most important is getting the array part down. The chessboard can be drawn around that, the borders of it. So do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you just draw a square and array it and get the spacing right first.
Yeah, I think that's where the focus probably for the time we have together should be, because if you run into trouble, that's the part that you're going to need help with. Creating a square around it, a 7x7 square around it, I think you guys know how to do.
Yeah, well, it didn't go very fast, but I did solve the other issues with the interface, so thanks. Good. Yeah.
And what was the resolution?
It's pretty much as you said. There was some bogus file open that had settings from one of the exercises on join or joining with spline blend.
Yeah. Okay.
So I had settings from some exercise file, and all I had to do was get rid of it.
Great.
Thanks.
When all else fails, let's remember that if things are just not working out, turn it off and turn it back on. That's the first thing. And actually, that's advice that my 16-year-old gave me last week when my phone was doing something funny. And he's like, well, why didn't you just turn it off and turn it back on? And I was like, I don't know. Of course, that's what I should have done. And that's what he did. And everything was fixed.
Yeah, maybe that would work with politicians.
Okay. I know that was all recorded for everyone's benefit. Remember in PEDIT, I showed you line width too. That may be useful for this homework. I forget. I wanted to let you know that Keith is available in the STEM Center in person from 12 to 5 on Saturdays for homework help. So if his Monday 5 to 6 time isn't working out for you, that's another time before the homework assignment is due that he's available to help you. In addition to that, Karen Groppe knows AutoCAD and is has office hours as well through the STEM Center. I have office hours Wednesdays 1 to 2, which is a good time for any of you that like to do a little bit of pre-work on the class and have questions that you want answered to get those answered specifically. Like if you've given the homework a try before you come to class and have questions. And that's through the online STEM Center as well. So lots of opportunities to get help. Some people have sent me short, quick emails, and I have tried to respond to those as well, but I can't guarantee that I'll respond right away. It just happens to be whether I check my email or not. More luck checking my email Thursdays and Fridays than on the weekends in general. So I want to move this object, okay?
Okay.
So then type move. Now, this object is not aligned properly. So first thing I'm going to do is turn off grid snap. I'm going to take its corner here and I'm going to put it up against here. Okay. Then I'm going to type move. And this time I'm going to move it 0.2 down. Okay, so I select the object, enter. The base point is this one. This is where I want to move away from.
Okay.
So I pick that. And now if I go to ortho mode, it'll only move down or to the left or right. So I put it in ortho mode. And then I can type in 0.2, sorry, I can type in 0, comma, 0.2. So 0 in the X, and sorry, minus 0.2 in the Y, right?
Okay.
And let me see if it moved. It did, but look at, I mean, it moved, right? The distance is just this much. I haven't drawn this to scale, so.
Okay. Yeah, let me try because I've been not putting in 2 points. I like for when you moved it, you put in 0 and 0.2.
Uh-huh.
I've only been putting in 0.2, so let me try.
Oh, no, we always have an X and a Y coordinate. When we enter a number, it's got to be X comma Y. And when you go to 3D, it's going to be X comma Y comma Z. So we're working in a 2D environment, always have 2 coordinates. Okay. Remember that. Yeah. All right. So maybe that'll help. Then you won't have to try and get in on your other computer. Go ahead. What's your question?
I'm getting now the rectangles after the first one, they're still being filled with white, but at least they're the right dimensions and not rotated. So
filled with white.
They just have a fill color. In other words, I'm on a black screen or with a white grid, and then it's just a filled rectangle, or at least that's what it's white. It has a white interior instead of just line.
Can you double click on it?
I just deleted it. I deleted. Oh, okay. I'll draw another one of 0.4.
Rectangle should never come up with filling inside. It's not a default. So are you drawing a hatch pattern or are you doing rectangle?
I'm typing the rectangle command on the command line.
Okay, I'm going to follow what you're doing. You're going to tell me what you're doing. You type rectangle, and then what do you do?
So now I just go 0, 0.4 for the first point.
Well, why is the first point 0, comma?
Oh, yeah, it should be 0, 0. Sorry.
Okay, 0, comma 0.
First, I'll get rid of that.
Okay.
Yeah, 0, 0 for the first point,
okay.
And 0.4 for the second point.
0.4, but it's 0.6. I was corrected. Remember, it's 0.6, comma 0.6, right?
Oh, I thought they were 0.4 with spacing of 0.2 between them. Okay.
Okay, well, remember, it's 0.6 with spacing of 0.2 between them.
Well, okay, that gets into the array command. Oh, okay, then I haven't even gotten that far. I thought you first create the square and then the array.
Yeah, the square is 0.6 by 0.6.
Okay, I'll just start over then.
Okay.
So the first point I'm typing in is 0, 0, and then 0.6, 0.6. And then I get a
0, 0. I'm following along. So 0, 0. Then I do 0.6 and tab 0.6 because my dynamic inputs are on.
I did it with commas, but I get a square with a black square in the middle, a black hole almost, like a black square in the middle. The dimensions of the top one are, they look about right because they're about a
Did
little.
you double click on it?
Yeah, okay, let's see.
Or actually, why don't you do right click and properties?
Okay, let's see. If I right click, I guess I haven't selected it then because I just get what you would get.
Okay.
I don't get a
Okay,
properties.
let's go to let's just click on it and go to our properties menu and hit the down arrow on the properties.
Where is the properties menu?
Okay. So share screen. Share. So right here is properties. Right here. And then if you hit this down arrow, it brings up the little menu that's here.
I don't have that. I don't have those menus on the ThinkPad. But maybe there's some way to show them.
You don't have this across the top?
No,
You
I
don't
just
have the panels? It's a panel right here. Properties.
no, I don't have anything like that. I just have a file, edit, view, insert, format, and then the left side has some drawing commands, but not just a few drawing commands.
Okay, I'm really confused. You don't have all the drawing commands. I think you're gonna have to show us what you have.
Yeah, I'll have to log in with Zoom.
I don't, and somebody is asking a question in the chat about what you have. So I don't, hold on. It says, do you somehow get a ThinkPad Chromebook? Is it a Chromebook ThinkPad?
This is just Core i5 8th generation. It's what they loan you at the IT center. If you say engineering, they all have.
Oh, it should work, and you should be seeing the screens that I have. So I think you're really going to have to show us what's going on.
Okay, then I'll.
You can take photos and share them on whatever Zoom you're on, or you can log in from that computer, but really not able to troubleshoot without knowing what's happening.
I'll have to log in with Zoom here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tony, you have your hand up?
Yeah, just want to say that May, she's been trying to log in, but she's been struggling a lot with her internet connection, so she hasn't been able to.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, I'm still recording. Hold on. That whole question I didn't record. What's the next one?
I was just gonna ask something really quick. So for the homework, it says that there's for the 6 objects to write them in millimeters, but then it says like at the end to turn in 2 separate files for the ones in inches and ones in millimeters. So
Right, we decided to not do that, and I was in the middle of editing that and then got distracted.
okay, so it's just in millimeters.
Yeah, just do it in millimeters. Let's make sure that we multiply the tri-path and the knot by 20. By 10, what did I say? 10 or 20 before? 10? What did I say? Oh. Whatever I said before.
I think you said 10.
Yeah, it was 10.
Multiply it by 10. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was in the middle of updating that so that we only submit one file. And make sure you label all your problems.
Okay, thank you.
thank you for asking that and reminding me that I forgot to finish updating. Okay. Well, someone else had a question.
Oh, yes, I'm sure I can share screen now, but I think I know what I'm seeing now. I'll show you, let's see if I can share screen. Do you see that rectangle in the center? Let's see. Oh, it disappeared.
Hold on. I'm not seeing your screen yet. I have to hit save over here before I can see what's happening. All right. Yeah, your line thickness is not 0.
Yeah, I think the line width is like really a high setting that that was saved as some default by an accidental keystroke I hit before I closed out before.
Okay, so we can reset that to just I think it's just type in line width.
Oh, okay. And then if I had the cheat sheet, it's probably LW or something.
Yeah, so it's line weight actually. What do you have when you type that in?
Let's see, I'll have to escape from whatever I did type in by mistake.
Okay.
Line weight, so I can click this. So it's so it's really high. It's like up to the size of the grid or the. So this should this be 0 and then it just.
Well, the default, are you in millimeters or inches?
I thought I was in inches, but I guess I selected AutoCAD drawing. Anyway.
Okay, well, why don't you put 0 and then try and draw your rectangle and see what happens, or your square.
Okay. So I'll choose this one.
So in millimeters, the line weight default is 25. I can check what it is in inches.
So I guess when it's just.
But just so we're clear, this homework is supposed to be done in millimeters, right?
Well, this is the practice.
Oh, this is a practice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get to square 0 on the first practice problem, but let's see.
You know what? It's 25 whether you're in inches or millimeters, actually. So maybe set it to 25 and see what happens. So just type LW.
Okay.
Enter 25 and see if that fixes the problem.
Okay, I thought that's what it was before, but so is this right? 0.25?
0.25, yeah, hit OK. Actually, why don't you PEDIT this block right here? Double click on this white block that you have, PEDIT. Yeah. Click on it and type PEDIT.
So you can see that the center is. Oh.
Well, yeah, we're focusing on the wrong thing. Click width right there. W, no, 3 down. Width. There you go. Yeah, put 0.25 or put 0. Put 0.
Okay, I thought it. Okay.
Enter.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Now I'll try to make the array.
Okay. And then we are looking, we wanted to see at the top why your panels aren't there, but your panel is down the side. Do you see you have all your draw tools on the side? Oh, you
me?
exited out. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking to the next person. I'm sorry.
No,
okay,
I was talking to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. Do you see how your draw tools are all on the side?
Yeah. So I think that's probably a setting rather than the thing.
Well, you can grab those 6 dots at the top and move it up. 6 dots on there. Then you can grab them and push it up to under file. Whoops. What'd you do?
I just grabbed them.
Oh, there they are. Yeah. And now you can, yeah. This is a toolbar. You're using a toolbar, and I don't know where your panels have gone.
I guess if I get it right once, then I'll just keep that, but I don't, there aren't too many tutorials on, there probably are in the book on how to set this up right.
So right click anywhere on the ribbon and say show tabs. So right click anywhere next to the help tab there. Next to help over here.
Where is that?
Escape, first escape.
Oh, okay.
You're in a command. Now go over near the word help.
Okay.
And now move to the right of that. And then right click. Show menu bar. Now it went away. Okay, let's do it again. That was all that was showing there. Let's just right click and it'll show it, hopefully. Okay, next to the plus, try and right click in that space.
In this space?
No, next to the plus.
Okay, I'll try to find that.
Right under the search. Right, yeah, right there. Right click there. No, it actually clicked on the plus. To the right of that, into the space. No. It clicked on the plus.
I see.
Yeah, in that space. Go where there's nothing there. Yeah. Now right click. Huh. Okay. So go over to the toolbar, the drawing toolbar, and use those 6 dots to move that out of the way.
Right click on it or
no, I want you to just push on the 6 dots and move it down into the screen. So click on there you go. Okay. And now at the top, everything has gone away. I'm not really sure why.
I think I might have a solution.
Go for it.
Steve, go ahead and just type ribbon or hit escape from what you're doing right now.
Okay.
And then type ribbon in the command line. Yeah, that one, top one. Hit enter.
I just clicked it. Let's see.
No, so something showed up on the screen actually.
Yeah. So that
and
might be
can
the
you
ribbon.
grab that and push it up to the top? Is there a way to grab it? And yeah, it doesn't nest
On the
way
left-hand
it's-
side. So look at the different icons. Go ahead and go down that list. To the left. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
What
so
are
now,
go ahead.
so the 6 dots that are on top next to the word ribbon, I think you want to move that and try dragging it to the top so it goes above your tabs.
Under the A, above the tabs. So between the A and the tabs.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Hmm.
it's not attaching.
But at least we got it back up.
Well, but it's not the right one. It's only
Maybe I
got
could just go by a template file that already has it set up, right? Or is that a setting that goes across templates?
why don't you close everything?
Sure, there's nothing, all I have in this whole drawing is a square, so I don't mind losing it.
Okay, could you just shut down AutoCAD, all your windows, and restart it? But did you already do this?
Once, I think I did once for the other problem, but I may have just opened a file that worked, but let me see. How do you close? Okay, this closes the file, but not. That doesn't close AutoCAD.
Just
on the
hit
top
close. exit Autodesk AutoCAD right there on the bottom right. See that? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, say no. I don't know what this was, but
Those were some. I had gotten that far last time, but on the Mac I was used to. So.
Okay, close this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let's open AutoCAD from your right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
This looks like a normal PC.
I think it really is. I really think it's Windows, and I got it because even though AutoCAD might install someday on the Mac.
So now we want to open.
Yeah.
We want to go to new. So, okay, let's close this. I wanted you to hit the drop down menu on new, not just click the default. So close drawing one, please. No, just the tab at the top, drawing one. There's an X next to it. Click on the X.
Okay.
Next to the word drawing one. Over to the left. Keep going. There you go. Click on that X. Okay, now I want you to hit the drop down arrow on new. Yeah. And now I want you to open, let's just open AutoCAD ISO. That's the one you haven't been opening, right?
I haven't been using that, no.
Okay, so hover over AutoCAD ISO and open that one. You need to go down to the words.
So I have to.
There you go. Go up, go up. You see the word ACADISO.DWT?
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, but your tabs are still gone.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I should install 2021 anyway, because some of the user interface is different anyway from the book because it's 2022. But I think
so little, it doesn't matter.
it shouldn't matter. No, I didn't think it would, but I just.
And I'm using 2022. So what you're seeing is what I'm using.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you try and typing in view base into the command line?
What word is that?
View base.
Is that the right word?
No, view, VIEW base, VIEW base. I don't think that's going to work. Go ahead, hit enter. No, cancel. Right, go up to next to share. You see the blue arrow at the top? It says share. Okay, you see word Autodesk AutoCAD 2022 at the top of your screen?
I'm looking for it. You're talking about this one.
No, I'm saying the words Autodesk, AutoCAD.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah, right click over there. Right click.
Uh-huh. Under it or on it?
No, no, just escape. It's not working. Escape, don't click on anything there. Can you right click? Hold on, let me try doing something. Okay, I've requested remote control.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Can you say yes?
I said approve.
Okay, great. And then I need you to not touch the mouse.
No, I won't. It said joined and Zardy's too, so that confused me. But yeah.
All right, so we got our menu bar back. And then next to this, you should be able to, okay, so all you get is show menu bar.
So that's the command line. If this happens, is just show menu bar.
No, none of that is true.
Okay. I have tried showing all toolbars, and I got one setting that just covers half of the screen space with toolbars, which was, well, not as good as the command line and more screen space.
Okay, so I want to show you, see this arrow I'm on?
Yes.
Okay, so what I did there was I got to the, was able to show the below the ribbon right there. So if your ribbon goes away, that's where that was. And then how did I just get to where I was with the other? I thought it was right here. No. Oh, sorry, it was tools. I was going to tools. Okay, so these are your toolbars. So this is this little toolbar here that you've added on, came from tools. But that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the panels. And I would imagine it's somewhere here. We need to find it. Oh, you know what? Hold on though. Let's see. Ah, okay. I don't know why that was changed, but if you ever lose your panels, we want to be in drafting and annotation, and they all are there. And here's the properties one that we first started talking about, and you said I don't have it.
Well, I didn't have a view of it, but was
Yeah.
it there? Okay.
So now do you see what I've done?
I have,
Everything is back.
so it's mainly, okay, let me record the essentials. It's under,
You don't need to
tool.
do anything. Don't
No.
edit anything.
Okay, yeah. So,
Okay, so when I think what you need to do is just, if you mistakenly type some sort of command in and something disappears, then immediately hit Control Z
yeah.
so that you can go back to whatever you were. But I'm going to stop sharing your screen. I do want to point out to everybody, if your palettes go away, it's because you're not in drafting and annotation, okay? And that is under this little wheel at the bottom, drafting and annotation. Now, for 3D tools, it's a totally different set of palettes, sorry, panels. See, all the 3D tools show up. So we want to make sure we're in 2D, because that's what we work with in this class, and that'll put us here. Okay, your other tools that had gone away were menu bar had gone away, and so we had hit show menu bar on that. Let me see, mine isn't here. There it is. Now it's back, and that's this menu bar right here. Okay. All right. I think, Steve, you are all set to go forward now.
Yeah, the main thing I didn't understand is that these settings are independent of any particular drawing or template that you're in. They're just sort of like your,
they're your universal settings. It's why
Yeah.
I have a white screen on my Mac, because my universal setting on my Mac is a white background.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, so once you set it up, it's specific to you. Okay. I know we spent a lot of time on that. So are there questions on homework or practice problems that others have been waiting to ask? Okay, good.
Maybe
go
a
ahead.
silly question, but for the arrow, do I need to like have that filled in, or is it just bold like that on the picture?
No, it has to be filled in.
Oh, it has to be filled in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I do believe that I fixed the AutoCAD homework submission. We're doing one file and we're multiplying the dimensions of the tri-path and not by 10. I said 10. And then I'm gonna also update the module to say the same thing so that everyone's on the same page.
I just joined on my PC because I'm really struggling. I've been trying to use the move command for the last 20 minutes. I haven't even gotten to the array. So
Is it that you want to share your screen?
yes, please. Okay. So as you can see, the bottom two squares are not lined up perfectly with the top two squares.
Could you zoom in a little bit?
It's slightly offset to the left.
See it? Maybe zoom in a little more. Okay, great. So what would you like to do?
So or what I've been trying is to type in move and select the bottom two, because I'm trying to get the space in between the top two and the bottom two to be 0.2.
Okay, go ahead.
That's the end goal. Okay. I'm gonna select. This also really frustrates me.
Well, you could do a window if you don't hold down the button.
How do you, oh, you just, okay. Hold on. So if I just click once and then, oh, beautiful.
There you go.
All right, and then we're gonna hit enter, and it wants me to specify my base point, which I've been using this endpoint in the corner.
Well, hold on. What is it that you want to move?
The bottom two.
Okay, so why is your base point on the top ones?
It should be on the object you're moving.
I just want to know what your thought process
I was
is.
thinking that like if I selected that as my base point, that would be 0, 0.
Okay, where do you want to move the bottom two right now?
To be perfectly aligned with.
Okay, so remember I showed you a two-step process. Why don't you go to the bottom two and select the base point of the top left corner of the empty square?
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
And now put that over there lined up, right? And you're gonna have to get out of ortho mode if you're in it.
I think I am.
So go down and unclick ortho. Oh, no. Why are you? No. Okay, so it should have been a menu button down here, right? It's right there. You didn't need to come out of that. Okay, so do you see the little right angle button at the bottom?
Yeah.
Turn that off. And you could do that in the middle of a command. So now we're going to start again, move.
Okay.
Okay, now I want you to take that corner. Yeah, now it's lined up.
Okay.
Click it.
So you specified when I'm choosing a base point, it should be on the object I'm moving, or it depends on what I'm trying to do?
It depends on what you're trying to do, but my general rule of thumb is you should choose a base point on the object you're working with.
Okay, what is the base? The base point is where like if I had typed in dimensions, the base point would be 0, 0, right?
If you typed in 0, 0, it would be 0, 0.
The base
It would be
point?
wherever your origin is. Okay, so I'm going to show you a demo. Let's finish this really quickly. So hit enter. Now do move again. You can just hit return after move. You don't have to select it in the command line. And now you're going to do that again, only this time it's going to be a little trickier. You might end up moving something else. But anyways, okay, now what base point will you take? Which direction are you moving?
Down.
Down -2. From where? -0.2. From where?
This line. the bottom corner, the bottom.
Sure, right there is perfect.
So then I could type in my X is gonna move 0
Uh-huh.
and my Y is gonna move -0.2.
Yep.
Okay. So what does ortho mode do? 'Cause
Okay,
what's
so
the-
could you stop sharing and I'll share?
Yeah.
So ask me a couple questions, right? What does ortho mode do? I've mentioned this. Ortho mode is great when you want to move something or copy something or draw only vertical or horizontal lines. It only allows you to move in 0 degrees like this or 90 degrees up and down. So if I want to go in this corner over here, ortho mode is not going to let me do it. So I don't want that to be on if I have two things that are misaligned, because that really constrains where I can move it. So while it was on, while you could move it up, you couldn't move it to the right that little tiny 1/10 of an inch that it was off, because that's a diagonal. You would have had to do a 2-step move for that. The other thing for me right now, the grid is on. So if I take off the grid, I can move, look at how I can move anywhere, right? Now let's put it in ortho mode. Now I can only move this direction and this direction. I cannot move. I'm trying to go in an angle of 45 and it's only giving me an option to go up or across. So that's ortho mode.
Okay.
Now let's do move and talk about the base point. So I want to move this object. And if I use the base point as 0, 0, which is over here, so I'm going to say 0, 0, right? Note that when I move it, look at where I'm starting from. I'm starting from this 0, 0. So if I move it this way, corner of that object is winding out somewhere in space that I have no control over. All I have control over is where it started from is 0, 0. Okay. See that? It's always that distance away from 0, 0.
Okay.
You see how my endpoint is somewhere off in space?
Yeah, I don't really know where my shape
So
is.
you're not, it's no longer related to your shape. But if you use the base point on your shape, then you can say, oh, that corner at 1, 1. Let's place it 1, 1, wherever that is, right?
And that's based on from where
From
you're
this being
what?
0.
Oh.
From this being 0. It's
Wait.
measuring.
So you chose a base point on your shape, but it's still related. It was still 0, 0 when you like it still relates to the origin.
Yes, it's related to the origin. Yeah. So if I choose 0, 0, this should move back to the origin. Oh, did it? Oh, maybe I didn't type it in wrong. Move, select objects, enter. Okay, so that's my first point. No, now it's asking for a distance. It's not asking for the point. If I wanted to, I could put it at 0, 0, right? Because I have a corner to attach to point 0, 0, 0, 0. So differences, I don't know why it's not thinking that at all and it won't move it at all. I guess it must be in relative coordinates. So I would have to know the distance away. Here, okay. Okay, so right now it's not on a grid point even. So if I use this corner and I want to move it to a grid point, here it is, it's at 0, 0.
Okay.
So, okay, now this is my object, enter. If I pick a base point out here, okay, note that wherever I move up and down, that thing is moving out in space, right? It's not moving. Whatever point I'm choosing at the end of the line here is not related to where that object is, unless I know the exact distance between my point and the object.
Okay.
So this was, I think it was more noticeable in rotate. So let's say I rotate this object and I want to use this base point. Sorry, say I want to use a point out in space. Okay, it says give me a base point. All right, now I can, if you look at how it's rotating about that point, it's always maintaining that distance away that it was before, right?
Okay.
Okay, now let's do rotate. And let's use an point on the object as the base point. Now look when I rotate.
Okay, so choosing a base point on my object allows me to get rid of the variable of the space between
Yeah,
object.
it allows you more control on what you're doing with your object.
Okay.
And this concept of a base point, I think I mentioned it the first class, definitely the second class. It's going to keep coming up.
Yeah, we use it in lots of things.
We use it in lots of draw and modify commands, but not only that, next week we're going to do blocks, and the concept of a base point is really important in blocks, because I have had many students, and myself included, insert someone else's drawing into my drawing, which is what a block is, and I can't find it anywhere. And it's because it inserted it based on the base point. So AutoCAD is an infinite screen, and it threw it somewhere out in the screen that I'm not, where none of my drawing is, and I can't find it. So to put a base point on the object is absolutely critical when we're working with blocks, which is why I want you all to become familiar with the base point concept now.
Can you do a, oh, excuse me. Oh, can you do a zoom all just to find it?
Yeah, but you know what happens when you do zoom all? It's a speck on the screen.
Yeah, that's right.
It's so far away that great. Now it's a speck somewhere that I still can't find.
Mm-hmm. I see what you, a human being in another galaxy.
Yeah, I feel like AutoCAD screen is like a galaxy, you know, like anywhere in space. Think of it as anywhere in space. So selection of the base point is important, and it's something that we have to remember, that we should try and select it on the object, unless of course I want to rotate about the center of the circle, you know, like if you know, I've drawn a circle here and I want to rotate this about the center of this circle, well then the base point isn't going to be here, it's going to be over here, the center of the circle. For what Gillian was trying to do, the selection of her base point was very critical in this particular instant, that it be on the object she wanted to move.
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't have to do extra math. Okay. We're in the last 15 minutes of class. Are there other questions?
I'm not sure why, but I'm unable to grab my, you know, the little XY plane.
Did you type UCS?
No, let me try that.
Okay. So these are things that I've told you guys before. Make sure you write them down on that cheat sheet so that you have them handy when you need them. So typing in the letters UCS allows you to move your origin. Write it down. It will be on the exam. So start making your exam cheat sheet now.
Pretty?
Yes.
So I've been running into a problem with different problems of like when I want to do a square, like I'm able to specify like one number of a measurement that I want to do, but not the other.
You're able to specify one measurement. I'm not following.
Like let's say I'm doing a square, and then like it's like 10 by 10. I'm able to do the one side 10, but then the other side, like the system does it itself.
Which command are you using to draw that?
This rectangle square command.
Okay. Can you share your screen or no?
Yeah, I can. let's see this one. So if I go square and then I pick a point and I want to make it 10, you see how at the bottom I'm able to enter that?
So you hit 10, 10.
10, 10.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that will do that
Enter.
this whole time. Okay, thank you.
So we mentioned it earlier, comma is to get between the X and the Y, and so will tab. Tab will also work like a comma. So 10 tab 10 would work too.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, other questions?
I finally was successful in making my array, and now you said that the easiest part, or relatively easy part, would be just drawing the squares around the array.
Yep.
I don't know how do you, I don't know how you, like, I drew my squares first from my origin.
Okay, so you drew your squares first from your origin. So where does the outside square start from the origin that you have?
I would say negative 0.2 away.
Yeah, in both directions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you say, so first you could put it at 0, 0, and then you could move it. Because
Okay.
we've done a lot of that, right?
Yes.
Or for your first point, you could say negative 0.2 comma negative 0.2.
For the array, when I'm moving the array?
No, not the array, the outer square. I thought you said the outer square is what you're working on.
Yeah, I just have my array made and I'm trying to figure out how to move them to line up with my array, or move my array to line up with my squares.
Okay, so could you share your screen? Have you drawn both?
Yes. Both.
Okay, I see, you've drawn both. Okay. Okay. So why don't you move your array?
Okay. Move, select it all.
Well, the array is one object, so you just click anywhere on it, it's one object.
Okay.
Okay, what's the base point you're going to use?
This lower corner.
Yep. Okay. Go put it at the origin.
Okay.
And now let's do it again. Move.
So I can hit to redo a command.
Hit enter.
Okay.
There you go. Select. I just want you to click on the array, not a window. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And hit enter.
Okay. Base point.
And base point is the same one we've used before. Okay. And now you're going to put 0.2 comma 0.2.
Right, to move. So it moves that selected corner.
Over to the left 0.2 and up 0.2. Yep. Hit enter.
Okay.
Look at that.
Okay.
Great work.
Base point. Okay, so base point is our, if we move the base point, it will move everything else attached to it, obviously, because
yes,
one object.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last thing missing on your checkerboard, not that this is for turning in, but just, as a point of clarification, there are little diagonal lines from the inner edge of the board to the outer edge of the board in the four corners.
Right. So I could do those by turning on snaps for intersections and then connecting.
Yep. Or endpoints. Yep. And connecting. Snap intersection or snap endpoint will get you the same result and drawing those four lines.
Would it show up if these rectangles are one shape though? Would those?
Yeah, it will.
Show up?
Yeah.
Okay.
It will.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. right, so let's see. Where are we all? Any lingering questions? Gillian, you can stop sharing your screen. Any lingering questions on the homework? Everyone's good. What about the knot? Someone type knot into the chat.
Well, I just said I was on the knot. That's it.
Oh, you're
That's it.
working.
Yeah.
on that.
Then
Okay. Any concerns on the knot? No. Okay, well, I'm not going to hold anyone here. If you guys want to head out, you're welcome to. And I will see you next Wednesday.
well, thank you, Preeti.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the first time I've looked at the homework because I was working on the first practice problem for the last hour. But just right off the bat, looking at the knot, and there's probably an easy explanation, but I see that the inside square is rotated. And I was wondering how you know the angle to rotate that.
Okay.
And I'm guessing it's based off of the other rectangle.
Let me. Sorry, I'm not on the right. This is the knot. Well, no, it's not based off the other rectangle. So this is, could you tell me what this angle is right here?
90?
This one's 90.
Yeah, that one's 90.
Which one?
Okay. So what's this one?
How can you tell for sure?
45?
It's 45.
I would guess 45, but how do you know it's 45?
Well, the corner of this is right in the center, and this is a square. So it's 45.
There seems to be a lot of guess. Like, I don't, like, how would you, like, you could, it appears to be in the center. But
no, it is in the center for lack of any other information.
okay.
That's the key. Yeah.
Okay.
If it wasn't in the center, you would need a dimension. But if it is in the center, then you know it's 1 inch from the bottom.
Okay. So
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's 1 inch from the bottom. So if you draw a line from the center.
Well, let's talk this through. You're given, so look at the dimensions you're given, okay? You're given the dimension of the inner square,
Yeah.
right? So if you drew the inner square first, which is just 1.41, or we're going to multiply by 10, so whatever that, 14.1 by 14.1, could you get the outer square?
I'm looking for a dimension that would give us the width of that.
So it's given, but it's not on the square you're looking at.
4? The 4?
No, 4 is the overall width of the rectangle. She's looking for this width.
Well, what it,
The 0.38?
Yeah, the
But
0.38.
okay, I see that, but that's the dimension of the,
Well, they're the same.
how do we know that?
If you printed it, you would know because you'd put a ruler up on it and you'd say, oh, they're the same.
Okay.
So the issue is that you're looking at it on the screen. Sometimes in engineering drawings, we need a straight edge to figure some things out. Like, is that in the center? Or, we need a ruler.
Yeah.
If I took a ruler to this, I would say, oh, that's 2 inches. Duh, this corner is now at 1 inch. I could see that. So when you say, oh, we're guessing, we're not guessing. We're just not printing it out. So if you're guessing, you should just print it out and take a straight edge to it and take a look.
Okay.
Also, in the same context, you could put a triangle up against this and you would see it's 45.
Right.
So we're not guessing at all. And all the information is there. We're just trying to visualize how to use it when it's not on paper. If we were together in a classroom, you would have a sheet of paper in front of you.
Right. Okay.
Okay?
So then I could offset from.
Yep.
Okay.
1.41 by the width. Let's call it thickness instead of
Okay.
width. Let's assume that this dimension means width, this dimension means height, and let's call that thickness.
Okay.
Okay. And then you could rotate it after you draw it, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you could put the rectangle, and then it's just a matter of trim and extend. I think just
Right.
trim mostly. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully I can figure those out.
I
Great.
have 2 questions. And then Gillian, if you ever wanted to work on the homework, I'm available. I have a question. So for the radii right here on the on 17, is that the number for that
The
one?
ball bearings.
It doesn't matter what template we're using. It's still it's gonna be the same number.
Okay, so first of all, you said radii, but all the symbols here are diameter.
Sorry, diameter. I confused them.
Okay. And then I think you're asking me, is this millimeters? And the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
But
what you're
like
asking?
when we do the circles, it's not gonna matter on the template, on the template that we use when we select the circle command.
I'm not following.
So for example, there is a 32 diameter, right? If we
Yeah.
already have it set on the circle as the diameter, then it doesn't matter.
Then
That's
okay, right. Okay, if you use circle center diameter, then you enter 32.
Yeah,
If
and
you
it doesn't matter
use-
if this is in millimeters.
Well,
for
if you're in
for
the right template, it's already in millimeters.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So the template that you're going to use is AutoCAD ISO.DWT. That's in millimeters. So when you enter a number, it's in millimeters. That's what it is in. Those are the units of the template.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Okay, so all of this will be done in AutoCAD ISO.DWT. All of it is in millimeters. You're going to multiply these numbers here and these numbers here by 10.
Perfect. And okay, that was one of the last questions. And you only have one office hours, correct?
I do. I am a part-time employee, so that's what they pay me for.
Oh man.
Yeah, and that's the only time I'm really available, just based on my schedule. I also teach at Napa Valley College. So
it's because for the tutor on Saturdays doesn't really work for me because of my job as well. So I end up getting out like at 4:30.
Oh man.
Yeah, and that's why like it's very hard. And like I've been working with Karen on some stuff,
okay.
but for last time she couldn't figure it out.